Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another video, for another Honkai Star Rail video, and as you have seen on the thumbnail, we are going to be talking specifically about our lovely lady here, Sparkle, and her comparison, or what people obviously want to compare her to, specifically Bronya. Now, obviously, off the gates, I'm just going to put a disclaimer, right, that everything I say is my thoughts and my thoughts alone, and everyone in the video, obviously, and everyone who's watching is entitled to their own opinion, and your account is your account. If you want to summon for the character on your account, feel free to summon for the character on your account. If you feel that you don't want to summon for her, you are welcome not to summon for her, and that obviously caters to every single person. So my comment and my thoughts are not an end-all be-all, obviously sort of restriction to some people, but my thoughts on specific free-to-play options, because as you know, I have about 4 accounts, and all of them I try and obviously save for the next, say, subsequent characters. So for example, in this case, that I got Bronya, or rather, sorry, not Bronya, I saved up for Sparkle and her Lycon on this account. On the next 3 accounts, I've already planned on what account specifically I'm putting Acheron on. That way I have time to obviously save for the next character, or a character that I would like to have on this account. Again, what I think specifically about Star Rail is that the best way specifically to build your account is to actually get characters who are good for your account. So in this case, for example, I don't have a healer on this account, but I have really good buffers and 2 main DPS that I think are really good, obviously including Clara. But with that said, let's dive into the video and obviously get right into it. So the question mostly revolves around, is Bronya better than Sparkle, or is Sparkle better than Bronya? Now, I think there's a lot to think about, and there are a lot of factors that are in play when obviously going into that topic. I do not think conclusively that one is better than the other, because realistically, obviously a highly invested Sparkle probably is going to be way better. I mean, like, you know, we're talking about E6, right? A highly invested Sparkle is probably going to be better or not on par with a highly invested Bronya. But the way Star Rail is also, you know, making the game of late is that every character that's coming out now sort of has a skill that is in comparison to a previous or starter banner character in the game, which is not bad. Obviously, that's just a way for them to improve the game and not make it repetitive. So let's dive into it. So I think there's no conclusive answer unless you look into these factors specifically. So now we'll start off with the first one. I think a highly invested Bronya, and by highly invested I mean at least as a F2P, if you have an E1, right, which is when you use a skill, there's a 50% chance of recovering 1 skill point. An E1, S1 at least, or rather if you have Bronya's E1 and her light cone, then that is basically on par with a basic Sparkle without her light cone. And I'll tell you why. Because Bronya's E1 obviously refunds a skill point, right, which is very good, and her light cone obviously gives her energy recharge, refunds another skill point, and then adds on top of her skill buff by an extra 35%, or depending on the superimposition that you have specifically. All this whole kit, or this mixture, is basically done by Sparkle's general skill, even without her light cone. Increase the crit damage of a single target ally by 22.5% of Sparkle's crit damage. I think, okay, actually let me rephrase myself as well. Whereas Bronya has an advance forward of 100%, actually debuff that allows them to immediately take action. So here's where I was a bit confused when I was actually trying to, you know, talk about this video specifically. Dispels the debuff, which is good, allows them to immediately take action and increase the damage by 66% for 1 turn, right? This is an advance forward. Where is it? Skill. This is not just, you know, I'm going to yank you to the top and then you have your turn. No, this is an advance forward, which in general cases, what I know it means is that you move from going, you know, let's say your DPS character has played, and then you get advanced forward like 30 to 25%, in this case 50%, it is possible for your DPS to go on that after Sparkle, and then go again right before the end of the turn. Whereas with Bronya, she just yanks you from wherever you are, you play, and then you go back to, obviously, the position you are in, depending on how fast that character is as well. I think that's what plays in part. But I think even her ultimate, I mean, if you look at her ultimate, increases the attack of allies by 55% and increases their crit damage by 16%, or Bronya's kit plus 20%. This ultimate is literally done by Sparkle's skill. Right, increases the crit damage of a single target ally by 22.5% of Sparkle's crit damage plus 42%. So even getting more crit damage from her general skill, right? Lasting for 1 turn, and at the same time advances forward advances forward by 50%. When Sparkle uses this ability on herself, the action will not trigger. Right, the crit damage boost effect provided by the skill will be extended until the start of the target's next turn. In essence, what I'm getting from this is Bronya's ultimate is literally done by Sparkle's skill. And not only that, whereas Bronya's ultimate lasts for 2 turns, if you play around with this and you manipulate the action order that you're playing with Sparkle, it basically also lasts for 2 turns. Because if you think about it, the crit damage boost effect provided by the skill will be extended until the start of the target's next turn. All in all, I think if you have a Bronya, so these are my general thoughts. If you have a Bronya who doesn't have an Eidolon, who doesn't have a superimposition, I think Sparkle is better. But if you have a Bronya who has her Lycone, and you, at least as an FTP, have the E1, then I think that you do not need Sparkle. Because Sparkle 100% is a very good character, very powerful character. But the debate a lot of the time is, we already have an advance forward and a crit damage and attack boost character, which Sparkle all does, even by the way, even just with her general talent. Whenever an ally consumes 1 skill point, all allies damage dealt increases by 6%. This effect lasts for 2 turns and can stack up to 3 times, which is about 18%, right? And then the more quantum damage, and then increases all attack by an extra 15%. If you have 1, 2, 3 quantum allies, it increases their attack by another 5, 15, and 30%. This is already a big increase in attack just by her talent, whereas this is all done specifically by Bronya's ultimate, which is one of the major things of characters. And most of the ultimate's kit for Bronya is done by Sparkle's skill and talent in general. And then her ultimate just basically boosts up, gives you skill points, and then obviously each stack of the damage boost effect provided by Sparkle's talent additionally increases by 9.5% depending on the Eidolon level. So what I think specifically is, I don't think there's a... Okay, let me put it out simply. If, again, you don't have a light cone and you don't have an E1 Bronya, Sparkle is going to be your better investment. But if you have an invested Bronya who has at least as an F2P, an E1, and you have her light cone, I think that is going to be on par with Sparkle in general, even without her light cone. If you have a Sparkle and you have her light cone, now that's where when things get a bit, I'd say, a bit difficult to kind of judge, because technically in this stage I have obviously 2 cases. I have both cases. I think I have Sparkle with her light cone, and then I have Bronya with the Eidolon and light cone. In this case, I don't think one is better than the other. My thoughts specifically, because both of them are actually doing kind of the same thing. She gives her crit damage and attack boost. She gives a crit damage and her attack boost as well, and skill points as well. So if you put it in that objective manner, if you have a Sparkle, not invested, no Eidolons, and you have her light cone, I think she's sort of better than Bronya, because on top of the crit damage and attack boost that you get from Sparkle, you also get the additional skill points added by her general kit, which is her ultimate, which in general makes Bronya better. Now, some would say obviously you have her light cone, so you get refunded 1 skill point, and you have her Eidolon, which refunds another skill point. But that doesn't compare to the fact that her ultimate literally gives you 4 skill points outright. And if you are having good skill management, skill point management within your gameplay, and you're not just autoing, right? I think Sparkle is better than Bronya, unfortunately, and that's the truth of the matter. And I don't think this is ever going to change, because at the end of the day, what Honkai Star Rail is also doing is that they are removing characters that are better than the old characters. 100%. I think, you know, I started the game when it came out, and Bronya was one of the most needed, most wanted characters. And even right now, she's still one of the most needed, most wanted characters. The whole advanced forward mechanic is something that most people cannot ignore, and that's good. But the debate is that a lot of people think, you know, who's better? Should I leave Sparkle and stay with Bronya? 100%. As a free-to-play, yes. If by now, by February, by March, if you started the game, you probably have this light cone, and you probably have an E1 Bronya. If you started the game when it came out, you probably have either one Eidolon Bronya, or you have at least the light cone, because you'll have saved up and then obviously bought the light cone. If by now 100%, I'd say skip Sparkle, because if you get Sparkle and you have an invested Bronya, you're basically just getting another Bronya who's a bit more buffed in terms of skills and ultimates. Yeah, 100%. But at the same time, I would not say that one is better than the other. I think factors play into the role of saying one is better than the other. Just like I've explained in the earlier, but that's pretty much it. So my thoughts on, obviously at the end of the day, is that Sparkle is a very good character. I'm not saying she's bad, but as a whale, 100% you can get the character. But as a free-to-play, I'd say save, especially if 100%, because 100% there is no doubt in my mind that any free-to-play that started the game early has definitely gotten Bronya without a shadow of a doubt. So what I would suggest 100% is that save up for another character, because we will be having another Harmony character come out soon, right? And she might be better than Sparkle even. And then obviously, if as a free to play, if you've not been saving up and you summon for Sparkle and you got a light cone, then you don't have any pulls, right? So what I'd suggest, leave Sparkle. If you have a good Bronya, keep the Bronya, because Bronya is really good, especially with the fact that there's no way right now nobody has an E6 Tingyun. If you started the game when it came out, there's no way you don't have an E6 Tingyun. And most of the time, a Tingyun plus a Bronya in the same team buffing one character, amazing damage. So my final thoughts, I don't think one is better than the other. I do think that some factors play into the role that make one better than the other. But I would not conclusively say that Bronya is better than Sparkle or Sparkle is better than Bronya. I think the amount of investment that goes into each of the characters are what affect the utility in which a character is obviously used or better than the other. That's what I would say. All right. But with that said, thank you guys for watching my videos. Thank you for the comments. We are at 2,000 subscribers. I'm very happy. I'm getting a lot of views, getting a lot of comments of people obviously giving their thoughts and ideas of my thoughts and ideas of a character and obviously the topics. And what I'd say is thank you so much for obviously interacting with my videos, and thank you so much for the subscribers. Thank you so much for the love that I'm getting so far. And let's keep on going. Let's hit that 3,000 mark by probably the end of the month. And yeah, thank you so much. Thanks everyone, and I hope you have a good Saturday.